guys, how's it going? I was just making a post on my story there to let other people know I'm going live. It's going to be another really quick rant. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday. We made it through another week. We do have our wins Wednesday post rolling around for yesterday, so feel free to add your wins. We had a couple posted up and I love seeing them. Today I'm going to try again to make this a short 5 to 10 minute rant on just one specific topic. The topic I picked for today is on redirects. What is a redirect? It is when a dog is engaged, specifically the redirects I'll be talking about is when a dog is engaged in reactivity or aggression outbursts towards something this way, for example, and they get bumped and they redirect, they send their teeth towards something that's not the direct object of the aggressive behavior. Okay? That is a redirect. That is what we're going to be talking about today. There are several different types of targets that can become susceptible to redirect bites, right? The humans themselves can get bitten by their own dogs. Dogs that are near them can get bitten. Cats, any other animal around them. So when it's the human, the handler, getting bit by their own dog, what happens is a lot of the times my human is either trying to calm their dog, trying to pull their dog out of the situation, or they're just kind of stuck and they got ran into and they're just bystanders. So for the case of I was petting my dog trying to calm them and I got bit. These are the type of dogs who usually try to give you warning. You're reaching for them and they're like moving away from you and you really have to pull the leash to drag them into you. We really don't want to be touching anywhere near the head, the neck, the face. If we have to touch a dog that is fully engaged, especially one that has a redirect risk, they all do, but some dogs are more prone to it than others. For example, shepherds. Shepherds are, it's very common for them to express their feelings about the world with their teeth. So, let's say I have a shepherd who's barking this way. I'm not going to walk up and grab the collar. That's asking for a redirect bite, especially if that dog does not have any training on a collar grab, right? That is just adding frustration to an already frustrating moment. So instead, you can tap the back leg. You can move away, right? I like to remind people you're not going to win a tug of war game with your dogs if they're at the end of the leash specifically. So instead of doing like a hard pull, you can do little pulses, right? No pressure, then it takes longer to say the word hey. Turn your body, angle your feet the direction you'd like your dog to go, and don't focus so much on the training. If your dog is already barking, lunging, all of these behaviors, you are officially above threshold. So there's no training to be done, there is just management, and stop practicing. Get the heck out of Dodge, get as much distance as you can from whatever that stimulus is, okay? So for humans getting redirected, obviously, there's management we can use. I like muzzle training these guys because some people will get a redirect to their thigh. Some people get a redirect to the hip, the hands. It hurts. It's just as bad as a real bite. And most of the time, my humans will say, but they felt really bad about it and they were really sad and everything after. They don't understand what's going on when they're in that high state of arousal. So we have to set them up for success and yourself up for success. I love muzzle training for these types of dogs. Helps everybody feel safer. I would much rather a muzzle punch with a muzzle than a full-on bite. Yes, please sign me up any day. We also get really, really good at our timing, our technique, and what threshold looks like. I was listening to something the other day that talked about threshold, and they remind me that threshold isn't like an actual target, a goal, a thing. I can't say that is a threshold. A threshold is simply a word to define the space between, right? So we have a dog who is under threshold, a dog that is displaying relaxed behaviors, and then we have a dog who is over threshold, barking, lunging, whatever you have decided is above threshold where your dog no longer listens to you. Threshold would be that sweet spot in the middle where they're still listening, but they have noticed the thing before they act nuts. Training happens on the way to a bad decision. Once that decision has been made, we are in management and bailout land until we're back under threshold and can reassess whatever's going on, okay? So the biggest way my humans can avoid getting redirected is don't touch the teeth. Sounds simple, but it's not. Especially, for example, if you're breaking up a dog fight. If you don't know how to break up a dog fight, I do have a whole video on that in the group as well. But when you're breaking up dog fights, we are not reaching in and grabbing dogs' snouts, grabbing dogs' necks, and pulling out. That is the last thing you ever want to be doing, and if you're doing that, you better know what you're doing, okay? Now, when we redirect dog to dog or dog to other animal, a really common scenario I'll see that is either when two dogs are on leash together or they're at the fence. Usually there's a barrier component involved, and sometimes once it gets practiced enough, it becomes generalized in a bunch of spaces. If I'm getting any questions, I'm not seeing any of those comments, so sorry if I'm missing those. So let's say for the case of two dogs barking at the fence. My shepherd, rah, 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 I see a squirrel. Go away. Pitbull Louie comes over and says, I want that squirrel too. I also see it. And then they start bumping each other like, no, it's mine, no, it's mine. And then they get into a tussle because they can't get that, but they're having such a large biological response, right? They're going into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. They're actually getting flooded with all of these hormones. So they are in these states, right? So when they redirect on each other, these fights, they seem to go 0 to 100 in 2 seconds flat and stop just as quickly as they started, right? It's like, whoa, where did that happen? And then as soon as they stop, they kind of shake it off and everybody just looks around like, what was that? And they don't even know most of the time. So the best way to help with dogs like that is increasing your management, so they're not in that situation until you can get their arousal states down. So there's no good way to break up a dog fight when it's a redirect, okay? Recent scenario, Shepherd and Pitbull playing, I thought they were playing in the water. Turns out they weren't. They were scared and they were trying to protect or whatever they were doing. They bumped into each other and started fighting, right? So breaking up a dog fight, I'm like, great, I'll spray him with the hose. That'll stop them. But because the fight started over water, it did not. It actually escalated things, so I had to throw the hose, and I had to go physically get involved with these dogs. But the fight started because of a redirect. There's never been any aggression between them. There's never even been a growl. This simply happened because they were both in a heightened state of arousal, didn't know what to do with the thing in front of them, so bleh, okay? A human example would be, let's say, person A and B are having an argument. Person C comes along to try and get in the middle before blows start getting thrown, and person C gets thrown, right? Person C put themselves in the way, so they are going to get kind of hit in crossfire there. So if it's dog v dog, management. We have muzzles, we have leashes, we have rotations. I love a good crate and rotate system. You guys know this, but especially if you've got dogs who are redirecting at the fence, that's a really hard one for my humans to keep up with. The bigger the yard, usually the more difficult it is because there's more buildup. They're farther away. You can't get there. And then it starts to back chain, right? So as soon as you notice something, as soon as they notice something, before they even get to the fence, there's already frustration being added on. So it becomes a bigger deal than it has to be. So management is your best friend whenever you have any dogs practicing aggression, but specifically for redirects, because when we have fights, when we have dogs or injuring humans, there is a piece of trust that is removed, and it takes a chunk out of your emotional piggy bank with your dog, right? It does something to the relationship with your dog, okay? So social drift is another thing to talk about. Social drift is something you may see with large dog, small dog is a common example where they're running, they're playing, they're running, they're playing, and then small dog makes a squealing sound and all of a sudden play is not play anymore and we're fighting. That's that social drift, that predatory just, they get so excited. It happens a lot at dog parks, okay? I saw a great video for learning, terrible video to be part of, but there was a lawnmower driving past a dog park. The dogs were all following it. Dog A and dog B redirected on each other, which started the whole park fighting. It was just a free-for-all at that point, okay? Social drift. We're fighting? Okay, what are we fighting for? I don't know, but we're fighting. Think about it that way. Now, to increase my humans' confidence, they have to get very good at staying under threshold. To increase my humans' confidence, we have to get very good at staying under threshold. So, we practice inside, we practice with muzzles, we practice with as many pieces of gear required for my human not to choke up and panic when they see something. Because that also creates a redirect, right? I yank back on a dog, they're gonna, what are you doing to me? Okay? A gentle leader, head halter, those things, they are not muzzles. They do help you have more control in some situations, but they will not 100% protect you from a bite. So I've heard people be like, well, I thought I had it tight enough. Well, a gentle leader's not supposed to be tight, number one, and number two, that's not what that tool is used for, okay? When we talk about muzzles, once again, we're talking about a Baskerville muzzle, most likely. We are not talking about any type of closed mouth cloth muzzles. Those are not what we're looking for here. Those will just create even more issues, and probably you'll get a bite before you even leave the house eventually. So that's what I have on redirect for you guys today. If there are questions, I'll circle back and answer them in the comments. And if you guys want more topics like this, I didn't talk about something, let me know. Talk to you guys soon.